Hamas sees ill Gazans as an opportunity to put the most vulnerable in the line of fire. Just last week, in the Al-Shifa Hospital, Ahmed Siam, a company commander in the Hamas, was conducting terrorism from within the hospital while holding 1,000 patients, medical staff, and innocent people as hostages. Ahmed Siam knew by preventing their evacuation, they were shielding him. We know that Hamas has done this for years.
The IDF has released that video to explain how hospitals have become part of the war in the Middle East. The IDF claims Hamas terrorists are using sick and vulnerable people as human shields.
Hamas terrorists have embedded themselves deliberately in any civilian place they could, be it schools, kindergarten, and hospitals. Hamas, in the most cynical way, is not only using the fuel, the electricity, the oxygen, the medicine from hospitals, but is using the most vulnerable, the sick and the ill, as its human shields.
Israel claims its forces have entered Gaza's Al-Shifa Hospital to carry out a precise and targeted operation where Hamas terrorists have been operating. The military says it's been communicating regularly with authorities in the hospital and they have facilitated wide-scale evacuations. The IDF is now calling on Hamas to surrender. But
tonight we are learning that the IDF has now moved into the hospital to undergo what they are calling a precise and targeted operation against Hamas. Now, they're making it clear they are at war with Hamas, not the civilians who call Gaza home. But they say over the last few days, they've been giving out these warnings that military operations need to be stopped inside this hospital. They say that hasn't happened. So now tonight at this hour, they have moved into that hospital. They say that this is going to be a very difficult and sensitive operation. And because of that, they're going to be having medical staff on hand as well as Arabic speakers. They say their intent is not to hurt anybody, that they say the civilians, though, right now are being, quote, used as human shields by Hamas.
Gaza's health ministry says at least 40 people have now died at the Al-Shifa Hospital. Mass graves are now being dug to bury decomposing bodies as they have no way of getting them out. Israel Defense Forces claims to have struck 200 targets inside Gaza in the past 24 hours, including terrorist operatives and weapon production sites. As fighting intensifies within the enclave, aid workers fear of a growing humanitarian crisis.
The first rains have come to Gaza, some light relief, if only for the children. But in the same area, another Israeli airstrike sent yet more injured to one of the few functioning hospitals in central Gaza, where doctors say they are struggling to cope.
The situation gets worse by the day. We get more and more cases because the displaced people are moving. The health service needs to expand at this hospital.
Our team in Gaza filmed some of those displaced who've been ordered to evacuate by the Israeli military.
The Israelis were shouting on loudspeakers. We didn't know where they were. They were shouting, "Evacuate the Al-Ali hospital." They bombed from the air and the ground. Bullets were flying around.
The corpses have piled up outside Gaza's biggest hospital because so many have died and there isn't the power to refrigerate them, say Palestinians, who are preparing a mass grave. Israelis say they're easing the medical crisis with steps like sending in incubators to Gaza's hospitals, as well as fuel. The World Health Organization says that is a token effort. Only a lengthy pause in fighting will do.
What it needs is the humanitarian break, not just a small few hours of pause, sustained break, resupplying of this hospital, getting power running to the hospitals, either by power grid or by generators.
Israelis are releasing more footage they say justifies their devastating operation in Gaza, including pictures of arms stores, of weapons and rockets. They say they've ordered the emptying of hospitals because they're being used for military purposes by Hamas. This hospital, they say, was used to keep hostages in its basement, but there wasn't much evidence of that, though there were some weapons found there. Israel's confirmed the death of one Israeli soldier taken hostage on October the 7th, killed, says Hamas, in an Israeli airstrike. Relatives and friends of other hostages marched in their hundreds in Tel Aviv. heading for the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem.
5 weeks into this war, Benjamin Netanyahu is under increasing pressure from friends and allies diplomatically and the international community, but also from his own people.
It's been 39 days since we last had any connection with our loved ones, and I don't know if you ever had lost connection for so long with someone you love, but it drives you insane.
Is the world doing enough to release our families? My government should do more, but definitely for sure, the world should do more.
Their fear is the world forgets their lost relatives and friends and moves on, distracted by the massive loss of life in Gaza, in an Israeli operation that has so far failed to find any of them.